Hello and welcome to the video. I'm going to show you how I fitted the Scorpion end can on my Kawasaki ER-6f. This is a 2008 model. A lot of bikes will be relatively similar, so it's worth watching if you're just going to fit one, I suppose. And some people just like to watch these videos anyway, but hopefully it'll be helpful for some people who have got these bikes, because they're still about and still popular bikes for people who've just passed their test. And they've been made since 2006 all the way up to present time, although they've been through quite a few changes. For the most part it should be similar, if not the same. So first of all, I'll take the plastic clips out of the front left lower fairing. I'm taking that off so I can get to the O2 sensor, also known as the lambda sensor, because I'm going to need to disconnect that so I can take it off the old exhaust. So it's much easier if you disconnect it and then unscrew it. You can unscrew it while it's on the bike, but I could not get it off because I didn't have the spanner for it. To take those clips off, as you saw, all you need to do is stick a screwdriver in. There's little slots you'll notice which you may not be able to see on video, I'm not sure, it depends what you're watching on as well. And you just twist the screwdriver, pull them out, and they just come straight out. There's two on the bottom. Then after that there are 3 Allen bolts, just take them out as well. I believe these will probably be 5mm Allen bolts. They're usually 5 or 6mm Allen bolts on this bike. Once the Allen bolts are off, all you have to do is separate it from the top one. It can be a little bit awkward because it holds in on the middle with a tab going in from the top fairing into the bottom fairing, and one to the front of the fairing as well. And the back part sort of clips in behind it. You just have to fill a bit of it and yank on it just in case you break the tabs. Then you just got to take the front sprocket cover off just so you can get to the O2 sensor a little bit easier. The wire's in a little clip so you can just pull it out of there. Push the little tab upwards on the connector, then pull it apart. You would then be able to take it out if you've got the right spanner, which might be a 21, 22 spanner, but I didn't have one, so I did try with a pair of grips I had, but that was just a little awkward where it was, so I've done this later on. Now we can get onto the exhaust. All you have to do to start with, just loosen the exhaust clamp. Then on the right hand side of the bike we need to remove the footrest, although I didn't remove it fully because that means also taking the rear master cylinder off for the brake. So what I've done is just take the main bolts out, use a bungee cord just to hold it out of the way a bit, checking that it's not pulling on any of the brake lines or anything as well. Once that's out of the way, you can then get to the 2 bolts. One of them goes all the way through to the other side, a really long bolt, you'll notice that when I pull it out. And the other one's just a bolt and nut on this side. Once the nuts are removed, you should be able to, especially if you have help, you should be able to wiggle it, twist it, stuff like that just to get it off. But being mine is an 11-year-old bike, it's a little bit seized on from all the years of it, well, being on there, and obviously the heat cycles and all that. So I was never going to get it off by myself from just underneath like that. So what I ended up doing, I ended up for some reason doing it off camera, I can't remember why now, but I ended up taking the right hand lower fairing off just to give me more room, and using a rubber mallet to just give it some careful whacks on the right hand side from behind it. I couldn't do it from the other side because there's not enough room for you to get the hammer on, so just gave it some taps, kept tapping it till it came out. Had to be fairly careful because you've got to consider the downpipes if you're doing it like that, but if you're lucky, especially if you've got a new bike, you should be able to get off fairly easy just twisting it about and stuff like that. I'm also showing here that there is a gasket on the original exhaust that is actually stuck in the old exhaust, so if I ever used that again I'd need to get another one and scrape and clean off the old one from the inside of the original back box or end can. So here's the new end can. As you can see at the top left is the Scorpion end can itself. Beside that is the large clamp which will go over the pipe there, then the link pipe, then the smaller clamp which will go over the link pipe which goes over the bottom of the headers. Underneath the Scorpion end can is the clamp that will go around the end can, which then clamps to the new clamp which you install, which is the black part, and you install that where the original equipment end can was, and you've got all the nuts and bolts underneath that which you will need to fit that. The one by the clamp is the one for the clamp, the other three are for the bracket. And if you can see the part just above to the left of the pliers there, that is actually a spacer for the fairing. I found I didn't really need to use that. My fairings are nowhere near the exhaust, not enough to cause any issues, so I didn't even bother to install that. You just put that in place of the Allen bolt on the bottom left of the right hand side lower fairing. So the first thing to do is just put the clamp over the link pipe, pop that over. Remember, you'll need the O2 sensor pointing to the opposite side of the bike from this side, which is the right hand side, but you don't want it too high up. So anyway, while you first fit it, it's always best to loose fit so you can still move it about and tighten up once you're happy where it goes. Once you're happy where it is. Then after that, we'll fit the bracket, which needs to go where the OEM end can fitted, and just offer that up and put the bolts in. There's three, two for this side, two for the other side. This is what it looks like from underneath the bike. Then we need to put the rear sets back on. There's no need to explain that, just the 4 bolts back in, but bear in mind the top right one is a different size to the rest of them, so you'll need probably a 5 and a 6mm Allen key. Once that is done, just prepare your exhaust bracket. You've just got to put the rubber bit on. It folds over to the edges. As you can see, so I've already done that on here. Just put the other exhaust clamp over the link pipe, and then you can pop the end can on and just twist it as you're pushing it on to get it on as far as it'll go. Don't worry about how low it looks at the moment, it'll lift up once you connect it to the bracket underneath the bike, and once you've got it on that loosely, you can then set how you want it and making sure that it's pointing in the right direction so it doesn't put the hot gases onto your swing arm. This clamp that goes around the actual end can with the rubber part on it is a bit of a pain because it's not shaped for the exhaust properly, so it can be a pain to get on. I was around the other side for ages trying to shape it on properly and get the thing squeezed together and get the nut and bolt on, so just take your time. Eventually I got it on there obviously, and then after it's all done, I did actually tighten up the clamps a little bit, holding it in place where I wanted it, just to try and make sure it was holding in place a little better, just to help me. And once the end can clamp is all installed, you're all done. All you've got to do then is just make sure it's sitting where you want it, and then you can tighten the clamps all the way up. So there you go, that's what it looks like. Now you'll get to have a before, middle and after as well.